Here's that Sharp MD-ST800 I found at Hard Off Funabashi. It's in great shape, and it's complete except for the power supply. We know that most Sharps can use a 5-volt USB charging cable from a Sony PSP, so that's easy enough. It even has the original manual. I just got my tools from storage, and it's always a good idea to do some maintenance on these old devices before using them. I call these backwards models since the MD mechanism is on the lid side and discs go in label side down. It's a bit counterintuitive since it's the opposite of almost all other portables, but just something to keep in mind. There's no service manual for this, so let's figure it out. I know the battery door needs to come off. With just 2 screws on the outer case, I'm sure there are some inside the lid. On this door side, you can see 3 screws and 1 tab. Reminds me of another model. Okay, I think I'm ready to get started. We'll take the battery lid off, remove outer screws, and get to the internal screws. You can see the tab holding the door here. A small flat screwdriver is all you need to gently bend the metal over the plastic tab. Okay, let's get the 2 outer case screws. Since there are only 2, we know they're going to be more inside the disc tray area. Let's flip this open and get the door screws. Three screws and we'll angle the door off. Gently unhook the plastic lid tabs from the metal tray and then we'll angle it towards that 1 peg that holds it on. Angle it off gently, we don't want to break the tab. Everything is super clean inside. As expected, you can't easily reach the gear shaft from here, so we need to remove the back cover. Let's start with the MD tray. A gentle squeeze will get it off the pegs. There are a few screws in the corners and 1 by the eject slider. This arm can be removed. It was held by one of the outside screws. Let's start with the top right corner. Then the bottom left. Next the top left. And then the 1 by the eject slider. Now let's get the eject mechanism out of there. A little wiggle and the slider can come off too. This arm can come off as mentioned. Now it's time to gently pry it out, away from the headphone jack. We need to gently separate the case here to allow the charging contacts to slide past the case. Gently pry apart, and then you can pull the internals out, away from where the headphone jack is. It's really clean inside, just like the rest of it. A few screws in the board, but since the battery contacts may require more disassembly, I'm going to see if we can get to the gear shaft without taking it all apart. This bottom screw by the charging contacts might be enough. Okay, looks good. I can see the gear shaft from here, so I might not go further. Just need to reach in here and add some white lithium grease. I like to start with a laser sled in the center, start lubing, then move it to the outside so we can work the lube in there when it returns home. Okay, let's start. Nice to get my tools and supplies back after having them stored for so long. Just a little bit on the swab will take care of this section. Let's also get the top of the sled rail on the inside. Sorry about the bad angle here. Let's move the laser sled to the outside and finish the lube. Just a little more in the gear shaft. Again, the laser sled will work this in when we power it on. And now for the other side of the sled rail. Let's get that screw back in the board. Spacing is a bit off. Let's check the plastic pegs. Ah, it's this one by the battery bay. The board is sitting on it, but it should be tucked under it. Let me pop that out. Okay, we're ready. Let's get this back into the case. You can see we need to line up the headphone jack first, then slide everything else in. Once that's in, let's check around the perimeter and make sure everything lines up. A little gentle prying here will get the charging contacts into place. Okay, everything looks lined up. Let's get the eject slider and mechanism in place. Let's first line up the slider, then we'll put in the mechanism. Hold the slider with your thumb and then line up the mechanism. It will hook into the eject slider. Sorry this is off screen, but there's only one way for it to go in. Working fine. Let's get that screw in first. And then the rest of the corner screws. And now for the arm we removed. Once that's in, we can screw it in. Let's get the other case screw in. To get the battery door on, we need to get this out. Let's get this MD tray back in, just a gentle squeeze and line it up on the pegs. Moving fine, so it should be lined up correctly. Let's get this bottom lid on. Remember that small peg? Let's get that on first. Once that slides in and pops on, we can line up the screws on the lid. Now for the 3 lid screws. Now to slide on the battery door. Okay, we're all set. Let's test it out again. Grab the remote. Here we go with the upside down disc. Simple remote, but it works and has backlighting. Oh yeah, headphones. Looks good and sounds good. Hold switch works too. These MD-ST800s are later models, and I think they're a good value if you can find them cheap. I'm checking all the features because this is going to be MD Giveaway 12. This is a complete set except for missing the AC adapter, and it's in great shape. The charging dock will work with a USB PSP charger. See the link in my blog post or video description. This complete set is my 12th MD giveaway. Stay tuned for details soon. As always, thanks for watching.